This is Nationwide. We are live on the network service of the NTA. Thank you for joining us. I'm Hawa Salihu Adama. As at 20 minutes past 11 o'clock in the evening on Wednesday, 15th April 2020, 34 new cases of COVID-19 were reported in Nigeria. 18 of the cases are in Lagos, 12 in Kano, 2 in Katsina, and 1 each in Delta and Niger states. The new confirmed cases bring the total number of cases to 407. 128 of the number have been discharged and 12 deaths recorded. Let's now join NTA's Mitaire Ikpen standing by live at the conference hall of the Office of the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, venue of the daily briefing by the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19. Mitaire, what are the major highlights of today's briefing?
Thank you, Hawa.
If you can hear me, I just asked if you could take us through the major highlights of today's briefing.
Hello, mic testing, 1 2 1 2, mic testing, 1 2. Are you on?
Well, before we rejoin Mitaire later, let's move on. As the 2-week extension of the lockdown enters day 3, Olabode Arewa reports that security agents are having a hard time enforcing the lockdown in some suburbs of Abuja.
At the Jikoyi and Karu areas of the FCT, the lockdown recorded limited compliance.
Since I have been around here, there is free movement. Okada are moving.
The issue of lockdown, anyway, is our own benefit favor. You understand? Because we don't know who is who. I may have the sickness. Why you don't know?
Well, I just came out to get kerosene now to cook, and the place, there is no kerosene, there is no market. So we are not really finding it easy at all. But we say thank God. I will go back and find another alternative because it's for our own good.
At the Yanya-Maraba boundary between the FCT and Nasarawa states, health workers who were on ground to check motorists and passers-by at the hectic time.
As you can see, the work is going on, and we ensure that the total lockdown is effective.
The 2 weeks lockdown in Abuja, Lagos, and Ogun states was renewed by the president on Monday night. In Abuja, Olabode Arewa, NTA News.
I understand Mitaire standing by at the conference hall of the Office of the Secretary to the Government of the Federation is now ready for me with highlights of today's briefing. Mitaire.
Okay, Hawa, like pointing out earlier, the Presidential Task Force has encouraged tailors and garment factories to take advantage of face to produce locally at this time using local fabric. But there will be more community testing. The coronavirus contain the spread of the pandemic, and also there will be more social mobilization in the grassroots to encourage wearing of the face mask. Again, the Minister of Interior has encouraged Nigerians in border communities to report promptly any foreigner that enters the country illegally through the land borders as a measure to prevent the spread of the coronavirus. That's it from here. Hawa.
Thank you, Mitairi, for the update. And a report just in says President Muhammadu Buhari has been commended by the Center for Ethical Rebirth among Nigerian youth for taking the prudent step of extending the lockdown in the Federal Capital Territory, Lagos and Ogun states to contain the spread of COVID-19. In a statement by the group's president, Chuks Akamadu, the group, which observed that the president's decision portrayed responsive leadership, warned youth in the country not to use the extension of the lockdown to engage in vices, but to stay safe and productive in the society. And from 2 confirmed cases last Friday to 21 confirmed positive cases and 1 fatality now in Kano, there are rising concerns on how best to control and contain community transmission of coronavirus in states like Kano. We have Abdullahi Mustafa in Kano. He joins us now with an update on the situation. Abdullahi, give us a sense of the general ambience in Kano since news of more cases hit the streets.
Surely, how the news of the increasing cases, especially the one announced last night, really changed the narratives here in Kano, because previously many people have the feeling that this COVID-19 is a disease that is being heard or seen far away. It's not for them. But with the index case and that some of the subsequent results turning out positive of some contacts traced from the index patients is making people to realize that this disease is real and community infection is really possible if the precautionary measures are not observed. So you see people now using personal protective equipment, observing that social distancing, and of course using other like hand sanitizers and hand washing. Because someone even, this is a personal experience, someone a few days ago wanted to greet me, I refused to shake hand with him. But this morning he was calling me where he can get hand sanitizer. So this is a typical example that people have really changed their attitude towards COVID-19.
Coming from Kano. But is there a sense of urgency by the state government to contain further spread? And is the response modalities being aligned to tackle the new reality?
Yes, because even before the confirmation of the index case in Kano, there were measures like closure of schools, offices, and courts, which that one is nationwide. So 2 days ago, the governor announced a total lockdown, which begins 10 p.m. tonight. And this is to ensure that contact tracing is done effectively, because the governor, during the announcement of the index case, was saying that the challenge is of contact tracing, because many people came in contact with him because he has been to various public places like mosques, condolence visits, as well as wedding ceremonies. So this measure will surely help government to trace those contacts and get them tested for the virus.
So much for that update from Kano. We appreciate your contribution. Moving on, the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19 has been commended for effective coverage of the nation's health system during the initial 2-week lockdown and determination to tackle emerging cases within the period of extension. Abubakar Usman Akwanga reports that Nigeria Governors Forum made the commendation during a teleconference meeting with critical stakeholders in the fight against the coronavirus pandemic.
The forum expressed satisfaction with the performance of the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19 and the NCDC The Governors Forum commenced the delivery of essential equipment, distribution of palliatives to vulnerable persons, as well as synergy with Coalition Against COVID-19 to support states' response to the pandemic. The forum also engaged Aliko Dangote, Herbert Wigwe, and Governor of the Central Bank, Godwin Emefiele, on strengthening mechanisms to reach more vulnerable groups and improve on existing health facilities. Chairman of Nigerian Governors Forum and Governor of Ekiti State, Dr. Kayode Fayemi, says the forum will constitute infection prevention and control committees to support the role of health workers who are at the front line of the pandemic. He said hotlines have been established across states to ensure emergency services are integrated into operations of the task force on COVID-19 and promised to review operations of businesses during the lockdown. In Abuja, Abubakar Usman Akwanga, NTA News.
Residents of Abuja along the airport road are soliciting government intervention concerning the high traffic being experienced in the last 3 days. Haman Jabani reports.
Oh, what do you want me to do? Where is your ID card? Good, so go. I've allowed you to go. But I will not allow others to go. You say you want to clear my doubt. How dare you?
This is the scenario on the airport road coming into the city center. All members of the force are on ground to ensure that those who are out without reasons are turned back as motorists struggle to pass the checkpoint. Christiana Issa, a staff of National Hospital, says she has been stuck in the traffic for 3 hours. She believes that a better plan could be applied to avoid what she calls an unnecessary delay.
Now reaching here, they have stopped the taxi to drop me here. And now I don't know how to reach. Should I turn back home and receive credit from my boss? Should I check to the hospital? I don't really know what to do next.
Some motorists that spoke off camera agree that most people plying the roads have no business being outside. Although the task force personnel declined commenting on camera.
Appealing to the public, they should stay at home. The order put in place by the government is not for the government interest to ensure that the community transmission of this COVID-19 is stopped.
Haman Jabani, NTA News.
And in a related development, it's day 17 of the lockdown measure to contain the spread of COVID-19. And workers on essential duty are still out and about. Are they complying with traffic rules? Najatu Tijani investigates, focusing on the Central Business District.
Central Business District, known for ministries, agencies and parastatals. Even the Federal Secretariat is devoid of vehicles, except for a few who are possibly workers on essential duty, a few civil servants, if you may. Which brings me to this question: what do you do when the streets are practically empty? So empty, in fact, that I can walk onto the street unhindered to do my piece to camera. With this situation, motorists were, however, compliant when it came to observing traffic rules, as was observed around Muhammadu Buhari Way in Area 11. So are you complying, keeping to the time?
Indeed I did, because I'm a essential staff. That's why I'm out. Otherwise I would have been home.
Out because it's part of my business.
But on the outskirts, some motorists took advantage of the lockdown and the low traffic to break the traffic rules. That was the situation which led to this accident. The parties involved declined to speak on camera. Authorities used the opportunity to call on workers on essential duties to always abide by traffic rules no matter the situation. Najatu Tijani, NTA News.
Thanks, Naja. And as we continue to assess the level of compliance with the restrictions in place to curb further spread of coronavirus in Nigeria, we also gauge the effectiveness of some of the steps taken by authorities to promote adherence and deter people from indiscriminate abuse of privileges also granted by the government. I have our correspondent in 2 locations in the Federal Capital Territory, Najatu Tijani, as you saw, now joining us live from the Central Business District, and Tessie Omeri, also standing by at a checkpoint along the Airport Road, here in the Federal Capital Territory. I'm going to start with Najatu. Najatu, you've been actually on the streets all through the day, and I'm just wondering, you've reported that the metropolis has had a high level of compliance in the last 2 weeks. From your findings, is that tempo likely to remain or improve? I could also ask if you suspect the tide might shift if the restrictions get prolonged.
Well, first of all, I'd like to say we've been here since about 4 p.m. going around to observe the level of compliance. Earlier on, we were at Garki, where we noticed that people were in compliance with the directive, and they were also sticking to traffic rules, which is a different ball game altogether on the outskirts in the suburbs. And since we've been here at the central area, we're actually close to the Federal Ministry of Health headquarters at the Federal Secretariat. Cars have been steadily driving out of the Secretariat. That's assuming they've closed for the day and they're all going home. From 4 p.m., the roads were actually empty. But now the tempo has picked up because it's obvious that they've closed for the day. So far what we've observed is that there's been compliance.
And join Tessie, who is somewhere around the Airport Road. Tessie, is it a challenge sieving essential workers from the non-essential workers plying the Airport Road?
Many thanks, studio. Right now, we are at the Dantata Bridge, Airport Road, one of the mobile courts venue in the FCT. Remember, we have 3 mobile courts, one in Pape, one at AYA. And this was set up by the FCTA, to further contain the spread of COVID-19. And also because of the fact that people have been violating the lockdown orders of stay at home.
Will you say these mobile courts are? How effective will you say the mobile courts are?
Oh, from what I have observed so far, the mobile court is actually effective. In fact, as I'm talking to you right now, the mobile court is still sitting. We have a number of cases that are still being prosecuted. And so far, they have prosecuted 14 cases, ranging from different offenses of violating the lockdown order. Remember, it is only essential service providers that are supposed to ply the road. But what we have, people pretending, some would say they are going to the hospital, whereas it's not so. And then the mobile courts are here, making sure that only essential workers are on the roads.
There could be some genuine cases of people going to the hospital, really. How are those addressed? There could be some genuine cases of people going to the hospital to see doctors. How are cases like that addressed?
In fact, I have with me the Directorate of Road Service, Wadata Bodinga. In fact, he has just assisted in one of such cases where the person genuinely was actually going to the hospital, but he was stopped here by the mobile court. And I have with me here who is going to shed more light about some of the cases.
Thank you so very much for having me. As you can see, we are here live at Lantata under the bridge, and so far we have done about 14 cases, while we'll have about over 16 other people waiting to pass the magistrate. This is just one point where this magistrate is actually been set up. We have other points that are presently operating at AYA and Mpape.
What we can get from you now, we need to go back to our other locations. For you from this location, it's back to you in the studios.
Thank you very much, Tessie, for your contribution. And I guess, Naja, if you can hear me, thank you for joining us on Nationwide today. And we will take some messages now. When we return, more reports. Do stay.
This is not a joke. It is a matter of life and death. Mosques in Mecca and Medina have been closed. The Pope celebrated Mass on an empty St. Peter's Square. The famous Notre Dame Cathedral in Paris held Easter Mass with less than 10 people. India, Italy, and France are in complete lockdown. Other countries are in the process of following suit. We cannot be lax.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. Dear brothers and sisters, in view of the COVID-19 pandemic we are currently challenged with, we at Al-Habibiyya Islamic Society enjoin all Muslims to adhere strictly to government directives geared towards stopping the spread of the virus. These measures include the stay-at-home order, washing of hands with soap and water, using hand sanitizers where water is not available, and other hygiene measures. We remind you all of the words of Allah in the Holy Quran, chapter 2, verse 195, which says, "And do not throw yourselves with your own hands into destruction." We also remind you of the hadith of the noble prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, which says, "Do not cause harm or return harm." Please stay at home and stay safe with continuous dua. This message is from Project Itfine of Al-Habibiyya Islamic Society. Al-Habibiyya Islamic Society, from Allah to you, a light.
Now believe this Koroti. You know, if you touch black man, if you like, gather the whole Niger, come together, make a cough. Nothing.
Which one you want?
Give me V&D.
I beg, get small pieces.
How much you want to give him?
Give me 200. Take your change now. You know what your change is?
My people, this coronavirus, na serious matter. No, now wash your hands regularly. Come use alcohol-based hand sanitizer. If you no see water, wash your hand. Make una sit down for house. You see this virus, so it no get leg. Now we dey waka krukere. No waka around, make the virus for die. No forget, say the betterment of our people. Now for your handy day.
This message is from the Akinfade Foundation in partnership with the National Orientation Agency with support from MacArthur Foundation.
Wetin be this coronavirus thing? Na true?
You see this coronavirus wey be COVID-19. Na the whole world palava, and e don dey kill many people for China, Italy, UK, US, Spain, and even for other countries dem.
Okay, wetin come be the reason wey dem say make everybody tanda for house?
Na because if e dey waka pium go carry am from person wey don get am, you go carry come give your family dem. Na so the thing take dey kill other people for other countries.
Okay, wetin come be that social distancing sef?
You see social distancing. Now make we no come close, because this thing now from air and touch. Now we dey contact am. We suppose dey at least 6 foot away from each other every time.
So okay, no be only to wash your hand and to sanitize them alone.
Make we no take this washing of hand thing take play, but make we come together, join hand as we take pursue Ebola, pursue this coronavirus. Make we be each other be keepers now.
Thanks for rejoining us. We now take you straight to our Lagos Network Center where Jennifer is on standby with more reports. Jenny?
Thank you, Hawa. Now, the extension of the lockdown in Lagos, Abuja, and Ogun states has further driven home how devastating COVID-19 is and demonstrated the seriousness of the federal government to curb the spread, especially to communities. Abolore Ogbara reports that despite the challenges some Lagosians say they are experiencing, there is improvement on compliance with the stay-home directive.
It has become necessary to extend the current restriction.
Following the announcement by President Muhammadu Buhari that the lockdown to curb the spread of COVID-19 would be extended, most Lagos residents have remained indoors in compliance with the directive. Many commercial areas in the state are still devoid of bustling activities. The same level of compliance that was observed by most business owners is still conspicuously the norm. Some residents shared their experiences as a result of the lockdown.
Government is working. Even me, I love it and like it. To stay at home. And all those our headers in living around this street is give us something like Indomie, like bread, like everything like that. I'm very happy.
All what they give me food stuff. I manage my wife and my kids.
Most Lagosians are hopeful that normalcy would return to Lagos after the lockdown and other measures to contain the spread of COVID-19. In Lagos, Abolore Ogbara, NTA News.
And to the ports, the federal government's goal of efficient port operations to stimulate economic activities during the COVID-19 lockdown is facing challenges, as some key players are decrying the failure of terminal operators and shipping companies to fast-track the clearance of cargoes and containers. Michael Olaleye reports.
In recognition of the pressure the COVID-19 pandemic is imposing on businesses, some palliative measures were announced to aid the operations of port users. These include suspension of collection of demurrage and storage fees on consignment already at the seaports for an initial 21 days effective from 23rd of last month. It was a development that brought a hope of great relief, but these port users and forwarders are saying that 3 weeks since the directive was issued, these fees are still being paid.
Since the regulators made it very clear that they should not collect demurrages from freight forwarders, I don't know the reason why they are collecting the demurrage. For what?
Michael Odo Emina is a freight forwarder. Apart from incurring expenses due to the non-implementation of the demurrage waiver, he said there was still delay in getting shipping companies to clear goods already paid for. This is in addition to the inability of most banks within the port community to operate optimally.
The issue is not even collecting that charges. They are collecting without the service delivery. For you to get a debit, it will take you nothing less than 2 weeks.
And without the receipt of payment, you cannot go on for easy release. And at the end of the day, for that same 2 weeks, they will charge you detention.
The Consumer Affairs arm of the Nigerian Shippers Council says it is aware of the frustration encountered at issuing clearance receipts.
When there is a service failure, the onus lies on the receiver of the service to come and report to the Nigerian Shippers Council. We are not spirit. It is only when you report to us, that we can attend to your problem. And there are some effort being put in place to ensure that the delay is being eradicated.
Port users are optimistic that the prompt resolution of these challenges will help the industry fulfill its mandate in line with the presidential order during the lockdown. In Lagos, Michael Olaleye, NT News.
Thank you, Michael. Back to you, Hawa, for more on Nationwide.
Very well, Jennifer. And moving on here in Abuja, as measures from federal government on ending the coronavirus pandemic increase. Governments at sub-national levels have also been speaking on taking a cue and advancing advocacies to curtail the spread of the virus and protect the lives of Nigerians. This was highlighted on NTA's Good Morning Nigeria as discussion continues on COVID-19 situation reports in state. Over now to Olusheye Adiago.
Stopping the spread of COVID-19 in Nigeria and even ending its scourge, the guests believe is possible with existing synergy among the concerned actors and the support of Nigerians. Though no cases has been recorded in Nasarawa State, despite its proximity to the Federal Capital Territory, where COVID-19 cases keep increasing, Governor Abdullahi Sule is optimistic the measures put in place will keep COVID-19 at bay.
We also went ahead with the building of our isolation centers. So today we have isolation center, that is almost completed of 300 beds.
For Anambra State's Commissioner for Information, since the index case was recorded, contact tracing has been effective and the state is equipping itself with medical facilities for response.
I'm happy to announce that the Anambra State government has placed an order for the latest technology in testing coronavirus. I hope in the next 2 weeks it will arrive.
Representatives from Niger State and the LCT want the synergy between the federal and state governments to be strengthened as capacity for testing cases and other medical response to the pandemic are still calling for stronger attention.
We do not have capacity, for testing, and this is one of the things that His Excellency the Governor is trying to see if we can have rapid, test kits.
As at 11:20 p.m. 15th of April, on the NCDC Twitter handle, 19 out of Nigeria's 36 states and FCT have cases of the pandemic, and guests on the program stressed the need for citizens to strictly comply with all regulations and hygiene practices. In Abuja, Olusheye Adiagbo, NTA News.
And for the next set of reports, let's join Kemi in our studio in Ibadan. Hello, Kemi.
And welcome to Ibadan. As the nation continues to grapple with the economic impact of COVID-19, property owners at a popular market, Dugbe-Alawo in Ibadan, are counting their losses following a devastating inferno that gutted the market. Dario Bushala has the details.
Like the chaotic situation witnessed yesterday during the Raging Inferno, the victims of the devastating incidents are coming to terms with the sad reality.
It took me close to 30 years to be able to, place all these things, to work and raise money to place all these things that got burnt yesterday. So where to start from now, I don't know. The air condition, freezer, plasma TV, if you know this shop before, you know that I lose a lot of things. You know this shop.
Oyo State Governor Seyi Makinde and representatives of emergency rescue agencies paid on-the-spot visit to the scene of the inferno to assess the level of damage.
We're battling with coronavirus, we're battling with the social impact of it, we're also battling with the economic impact of coronavirus. And then this. Well, we believe there's a need for the states to have an endowment for disaster.
So they need to start life again. And I think if the government can do its own part and individuals can help them, it's great.
Meanwhile, damage control operations were ongoing by men of the State Fire Service, while victims were putting the remnants of their property together. In Ibadan, Dayo Gunshola, NTA News.
The need for collaboration between heads of border communities and security agencies as a means of curbing further spread of COVID-19 has been stressed. Oyo State Controller of Nigeria Immigration Service, Saleh Abdullahi, stated this during his tour of some border communities in the state. Correspondent Shola Wahid has the report.
In compliance with the directive of the federal government to prevent the influx of people into the country against the spread of coronavirus, Controller of Nigerian Immigration Service, Saleh Abdullahi, visited Isenyi, Shaki, and the Nigerian Benin Republic border at Okerete in Oyo State to ensure that officers comply with total border closure.
24/7 to man this border. We make sure that what the federal government has said, no immigrant, nobody should enter Nigeria at this moment where we have this coronavirus.
Mr. Abdullah urged leaders in the border communities to synergize the security agencies towards ensuring that the coronavirus is not spread through the borders.
The security at the border is now very tight due to coronavirus.
Thank God that all your efforts will not be in vain.
He treated the commitment of the Nigerian Immigration Service at ensuring strict compliance on border closure and warned that violators will face the full wrath of the law. In Ibadan, Shola Wahid, NTA News.
And that's it from here. Awa, it's back to you.
Many thanks, Kemi. The Save the Poor Coalition says the creation of the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development is a bold step to lift the people out of poverty and to prosperity. This is in reaction to a view canvassed by a member of the National Assembly that the distribution of cash transfer register in states was a fabrication and was full of fraud, and that the ministry lacks the capacity and structure to carry out the assignment. Save the Poor Coalition says it is happy that the minister in charge of the ministry has taken steps to update the National Social Register she met on ground, thereby proving that the program is not a fraud. The statement by the national coordinator, Emeka Eneche, urges Nigerians to support President Muhammadu Buhari's desire in lifting millions of Nigerians out of poverty. And Jenny in our Port Harcourt Network Center is next in line.
Thank you, Hawa. Good evening and welcome. As the fight to curtail further spread of coronavirus pandemic intensifies across the country, 42 secondary health institutions in Akwa Ibom State have taken delivery of personal protective equipment worth millions of naira for their health workers. Clement Barikwe reports that the items were part of donations from the COVID-19 Incident Management Committee.
At the break of any infectious disease, medical personnel are always at the front line in the fight against such outbreak, and their personal protection will either make or mar efforts to curtail further spread. This personal protective equipment by the Incident Management Committee and the Akwa Ibom State Hospital Management Board is therefore a morale booster to doctors and nurses in the 42 government hospitals in Akwa Ibom State.
We will ensure that within our power, they will be well protected to do their work. We expect them to know that we are not sending them to the gallows.
Without being in good health, there cannot be any functional development. So because of that, His Excellency the Governor of Akwa Ibom State approved the recruitment of 170 medical doctors, including consultants, 330 nurses.
With this presentation, residents of the state are reassured that all government hospitals will remain open to attend to their healthcare needs. In Uyo, Clement Barikwe, NTA News.
And Rivers State Governor Nyesom Wike has reiterated his administration's commitment to its constitutional responsibility of protecting lives and property in the state. The governor stated these while receiving reports on the achievement of Operation Stink at Government House, Port Harcourt. Ogedi Nyekwere reports.
Governor Wike commended the security agencies for collaborating with the state government to check the activities of criminals. The governor urged the media to also focus on the successes of the State Security Council in the area of securing lives in the state.
We commend the effort of the Commissioner of Police and other security agencies for their collaboration in making sure that this state is kept safe.
Rivers State Commissioner for Police Mustafa Dandaura said the arms were recovered from Ogbolo local government area following credible intelligence reports. He said the arms were hid underground in the forest by the kidnapped syndicates.
The motive of stocking these arms are going to be investigated.
The commissioner assured that the security agencies will continue to work hard to protect lives and property in the state. In Port Harcourt, Ogedi Nyekwere, NTA News.
And Nationwide continues with our After the Break.
Fellow Nigerians, follow the instructions on social distancing. The irresponsibility of the few can lead to the death of many. Your freedom ends where other people's rights begin. The security agencies have risen to the challenges posed by this unprecedented situation with gallantry, and I commend them. I urge them to continue to maintain utmost vigilance, firmness, as well as restraint in enforcing the restriction orders while not neglecting statutory security responsibilities.
And I've got this very important message for you guys. Stay at home. No. Stay safe. Noruma. This is the right thing to do at this time. And don't forget, remember to wash your hands. Sachasia kage samaya sama, sachasia isia kage of mofuma. Together, we'll beat this thing. Are you ready now? Are you ready, man?
As the world combats the novel coronavirus, also known as COVID-19, the Nigerian government is committing funds and donations are coming from the private sector to tackle the virus. The emergency response to COVID-19 should not be abused as an opportunity for corruption. Do not embezzle the funds. Do not extort money from patients. Observe due procurement processes. And all citizens must guard against the peddling of false information. Do the right thing. Integrity pays. This message is brought to you by ICPC and NTA.
Electricity is part of day-to-day activity.
When there is no light, there is no life.
It's as if we have been ostracized here. Our children cannot even live normal lives.
Instead of buying things plenty that will spoil, we are buying it small. For us to go to the market, come, we will spend not less than 250 naira.
There is a lot of fake news and report circulating, especially on social media, on the coronavirus. Do not believe or partake in the spread of these fake reports. If it is not on the official website or news from the Nigerian Center for Disease Control, NCDC, disregard such report. Only together can we beat this virus. Only together can we overcome this pandemic. Follow the instructions and guidelines provided to combat this virus. Most importantly, stay at home. Self-isolate, regardless of your status. The virus doesn't move unless we move. Let us work together to better Nigeria. Together, we can do this. This message is brought to you by the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA, Africa's largest television network.
It's nationwide. Thanks for rejoining us. Experts have advised that one of the ways to contain the spread of the coronavirus is by preventing community transmission. This makes sensitization at the grassroots very vital. In Taraba State, campaigns in the rural areas have remained top priority. Joseph Hussein reports on latest efforts made in Jalingo local government area.
Grassroots engagement in the fight against coronavirus is key in preventing widespread of the disease. This meeting involving the caretaker chairman of Jalingo Local Government Council, Adonasol Boboji, with traditional and religious leaders, youths and health workers, as well as other stakeholders, is promoting collective efforts In tackling coronavirus pandemic, participants are being kept abreast with latest knowledge on COVID-19, and ideas are shared on best strategies to reach out to all rural communities.
Please, as a group, when we are organized, minimum group, if it's 5, 10, and we also have to take into cognizance the rules of not more than 20 people that already put in place.
Nobody has no boundary. So let us not hide somebody who is coughing, who has all the symptoms.
After enough education, protective equipment are handed over to traditional rulers, health centers, and other stakeholders. Already, the youth are stepping up the game by organizing sensitization and distribution of personal protective items.
We have a very big role to play in carrying out this exercise, because we are the ones that are living with the people.
And therefore, they must adjust to the new normal of social distance, stay-at-home order, and personal hygiene to stop the spread of the disease. In Jalingo, Joseph Sound Otsen, NTA News.
And we now join Abdurrahman in Sokoto for more reports.
As part of efforts to prevent contact and spread of COVID-19 in and around Kebbi State, the Waziri Umaru Federal Polytechnic Birnin Kebbi has embarked on mass production of hand sanitizers for distribution in the state. Nuratanko Akili reports.
The effort of the Polytechnic is coming in recognition of the rising demand of the sanitizers for prevention against COVID-19 and rising concern on the quality of those available in the market. The idea is to produce a standard and affordable sanitizer to meet the demands of the immediate community and equally donate to the State Task Force for onward distribution to the public.
As an institution, we contribute our quota in making sure that the state is clearly safe. And we are happy to this moment there has not been any recorded case. And we are happy to also inform you that it is not just the issue of taking to the state task force, but we have also decided reaching out to other federal tertiary institutions domiciled within KB.
The sanitizer was produced by the Polytechnic Consultancy Service in collaboration with the Department of Science Technology.
The advent of this COVID-19 pandemic, if the sanitizers are not good, people will be deceived into believing that they have sanitized themselves, while in actual fact it's not the case.
Meanwhile, agencies of government have continued to maintain preventive measures against the pandemic by providing hand-washing points in their premises. In Birnin Kebbi, Nuratanko Akili, NTA News.
The National Broadcasting Commission has donated some protective items against COVID-19 to the FM community station of Abdu Gusau Polytechnic Talata Mafara in Zamfara State. The donation was delivered by the Sokoto Zonal Director of the NBC, Jamilu Yahya Jega. Halil Muhammad Umar reports.
Despite the suspension of official work by most workers due to the stay-at-home order by the federal government, essential staff in various ministries, departments and agencies, including media practitioners, have continued to render services to the people and as such need support to get themselves protected from the COVID-19. This informed the decision of the National Broadcasting Commission to assist staff of FM community radio station of Abdu Gusau Polytechnic in Talata Mafara local government area of Zamfara State with preventive items to guard against contracting the deadly disease. The items, which include face masks, medicated soaps, sanitizers, hand gloves and buckets among others, were presented to the rector of the institution by the Sokoto Zonal Director of the National Broadcasting Commission, Jamilu Yahya Jega.
Please deal with judiciously. Protect yourselves. Make sure that each and every staff that is going into the studio observe all the rules. I will assure you that the materials presented to us will be judiciously utilized.
The general manager of the FM community radio station, Murtala Salihu Gumi, had earlier conducted the NBC delegation around the various operational units of the media outfit, where they commended the staff for working in this difficult time. In Gusau, Halil Muhammad Umar, NTA News.
That's it from here, Hawa.
Thanks, Abdurrahman. The Cross River State government has flagged off the COVID-19 response stimulus package distribution towards reaching the poorest of the poor in all 18 local government areas of the state. Paul Abel has that.
The food items here at the Cross River State Food Bank are provided by the state government, public-spirited individuals, and corporate organizations as part of palliatives for the poor and vulnerable in the fight against the coronavirus. To ensure that the stimulus packages get to those it is intended for, the strategy is distributing through religious leaders, traditional rulers, physically challenged, IDPs and refugee camps, as well as door-to-door distribution using the World Bank Register. For some leaders among beneficiary groups like Livonius, who is physically challenged, the sharing formula is the best.
I will make sure they didn't go down to the grassroots.
The category of the people that the items are meant for, let's make sure it gets to them.
The moment these things get to those structures, it gets to the end.
The state government says this is just an aspect of its intervention, as 30,000 naira will equally be provided for 8,000 youths.
This one are for people when no go feel work again. On Tuesday, any young man and woman will not get job will be 18 years to the age of 35, automatic job.
It is hoped that those in charge of this facility will distribute these food items to the appropriate persons. In Calabar, Paul Abel, NTA News.
From Calabar, we go to Makurdi, where the Benue State government has extended measures put in place to halt the spread of COVID-19 for 2 weeks. Governor Samuel Otom, who disclosed this after an executive council meeting, added that the 2020 budget has been reviewed downwards from 195 billion naira to 119 billion due to the present economic reality posed by the coronavirus pandemic. Charles Abba reports.
The Benue State Executive meeting, which centered largely on issues of mitigating the spread of coronavirus pandemic, had in attendance members of the COVID-19 Action Committee. Governor Samuel Otom, who harped on the IMF projection of a worse recession than that of 2016 in Nigeria, announced that apart from the cut down of the state 2020 budget, government is to aggressively pursue mechanized farming to sustain food security.
We're encouraging Benue citizens to ensure that there is no more empty land anywhere in Benue State. Everyone must go into massive cultivation. What we will do is to support our farmers to clear the land so that they can go into mechanized farming.
The governor also gave explanations as to why government has extended the 7 p.m. to 6 a.m. curfew and other measures put in place for 2 more weeks.
This is a continuous process. We are not resting. The committee is not resting. It's working 24 hours.
He assured Benue people that the palliative measures against impact of COVID-19 by the federal government for the less privileged will reach them. In Makurdi, Charles Abba, NTA News.
Police operatives have arrested the killers of late Funke Olakunri, daughter of the leader of the Pan-Yoruba Socio-Cultural Organization Afenifere, Chief Ruben Fasoronti. A statement by the police public relations officer, DCP Frank Mba, says the Inspector General of Police deployed the Federal Special Anti-Robbery Squad to carry out massive manhunt for the killers, and after months of relentless efforts, the police team on March 4th, 2020 arrested one Awal Abubakar, an accessory after the fact of the crime along Shagamu-Ore Expressway in Ondo State. The arrest of Awal Abubakar led to the arrest of 2 other members of the gang, Mohammed Shehu Usman and Lawal Mazaji in Benin, Edo State, from whom a collection of ammunition was recovered, and one other, Adamu was arrested in Akure, Ondo State. Investigations so far reveal that the operation that led to the killing was carried out by 8 armed criminals led by one Tambaya. The Inspector General of Police hereby declares the principal suspect, Tambaya, wanted for his involvement in the death of Mrs. Funke Olakunri and promises diligent prosecution of the culprits. President Muhammadu Buhari has joined the diplomatic community in celebrating former Nigerian permanent representative to the United Nations, Ambassador Blessing Akporode Clark, on his 90th birthday. In a statement by Special Advisor to the President on Media and Publicity, Femi Adesina, the President acknowledged Ambassador Clark's sterling contributions to the shaping and implementation of the country's foreign policy during his diplomatic service career and helping to sustain Nigeria's bilateral and multilateral relations, culminating in his becoming a permanent secretary, Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Sports now with Kene Emagwadike.